Hello there, and welcome to today's live. It is wonderful to be here as always. I hope you're having a fantastic week, a great Monday start to your week, I should say. It is yet another hot roasting day here in London, so I hope wherever you are, you're getting some of this sunshine and warm weather. Although, to be honest, it has now gone on for a really long time, and I'm not the biggest fan of the heat. So, hi. Anyway, I hope that you're a sun lover at least, so that you're enjoying all of this hot weather, if that's what you've got where you are. Anyway, hi to those of you who don't know me. I'm Catherine Eardley. I am the founder of Future Retail Consulting and also the Female Founders in Retail Facebook group. And what I do is I work with small and startup retail entrepreneurs to help you make more money. That's what we all want to do, isn't it? And build a long-lasting business. And what I'm going to do today is, if you've been following along for the last couple of weeks, then you will know that we've talked about how you look at the numbers that you need to understand for your business, your sales unit numbers. And last week we were talking about the profit that you need to generate in order to help you reach those goals. So we talked a little bit about how you might increase the profit that you sell per unit. So if you've not seen any of those and you're interested, then do please scroll through the group or take a look at my website, where I've got every live that I've done as a blog post with the video in as well, if you want to see that. So do enjoy those. Otherwise, today what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about one particular number that you want to look at to understand if it's really more customers that you need, or in fact if this number is telling you something different. And that is something you need to understand kind of before you go ahead then with ploughing more sales, more customers into your business. Okay, so at the end of this session, I'm really excited because I'm going to tell you all about our very first 5-day challenge that we're doing right here in the group. That is going to be starting in a week next Monday. So I'm going to tell you about that, what that's going to involve and how you can sign up. But for right now, let's get started. So the title of this live stream was, do you always need more customers? And okay, I was being a bit provocative because of course we always need to have more customers, and that's something that we're all aiming for. But in the same way that you want to check your profit per item before you go full steam ahead into getting more customers, it's also worth taking a look at your existing customers, your existing traffic to your website, your existing customers into your store, and seeing if you can maximize those so that you're doing this work before you get anybody else to come in, and you can identify if there are any issues that you want to resolve before then. Okay, so what am I looking at? What am I talking about? Now, some of you have probably already figured out that what I'm actually talking about in this session is your conversion rate. Now, if you're not familiar with conversion, effectively, if you have 100 customers to your website, to your store, and 5 of them buy, then that is a 5% conversion rate. So, you know, a typical conversion rate, 5% is actually somewhat high. An e-commerce site, you'd be expecting somewhere sort of 2-3% or above, and then a physical store, you'd probably be expected to be closer to about 50%. So physical stores, even though you get less traffic, people are more likely to be buying. Okay. So again, you may be thinking that what you really need is more customers, but it is worth taking the time to look at your existing conversion rates, checking those out, and then having a think about whether or not you need to do anything to improve the customer experience before you go ahead and spend the money. If you have a small advertising budget, or do more activity on social media, or almost anything else, what you want to be doing is checking that any actions you take to bring more people in are going to result in more sales. Because think about this scenario. If you had 100 visitors to your site and only one of them's buying, then you could go out there, do all of the work on social media, do all of the work on paying advertising, anything else like that. And you could drive another 100 customers to your website, and then maybe 2 of them would buy. So 1 from the original 100, 1 from the extra. But if you did some work on your website to look at why people aren't buying, or if there are any issues, then you could go from one person buying to two people buying, but with the same number of visitors. And that's a really important concept just to get your head around, because that's why I said, do you really need more customers? If at the moment you're getting people visiting but not buying, then look at that first before you go ahead and invite people in. As somebody has said, it's like you tidy your house before you invite your visitors. So check everything is working and then invite more people in. Okay, so if you have a physical store, I hope I've not lost you here, because yes, conversion is something that is talked about in e-commerce space, but it absolutely is a number that you can get to as a physical store, whether that's your boutique or your pop-up or even your stall, if you are somebody who operates in sort of pop-up markets or craft fairs. So it's very simple. It's exactly the same idea as your online conversion. You just keep yourself a little tally chart, and you note down how many people there are who come into your store every day or visit your store, and then how many of those buy. And it doesn't have to take long, it doesn't have to be complicated. There are more sophisticated technological solutions for this that the big retailers have, where they have footfall counters and all the rest of it. But and to be fair, actually, a lot of those have come down in price. But to be honest, unless you've got a very busy place and you're going to be struggling to keep up, a simple tally chart will do. So that's it. You just want to look at how many people buy versus how many people visit, and you want to aim to increase it. So then the next question might be, well, how do you actually do that? So you can look for some sort of, you can use your, okay, let's go back to the e-commerce example. So you can have a look at how various different products convert. So you may have one where actually 10% of the people who visit buy, and you may have one where none of the people who visit that particular product buy. So have a look at if you've got any kind of anomalies like that on your website, start having a look at your conversion by product and start trying to understand if there are some that convert better than others. So here are a few examples of things that you can do to make sure that your conversion is good. So, or improve it, I should say. So first of all, look at your product information. Remember, we're talking about e-commerce here. So you're trying to replicate as best you can the experience of the customer being able to pick up a product and look at it in the shop. So what does somebody do when they look at something in a shop? They pick it up, they feel it, and they turn it around, they have a look at it from the different angles. So what you want to do is make sure that, number one, your photography is correct, so that you are showing all the different angles that you can. If there are any particular features, that you zoom in on those, that you are really making sure that any particular, you know, if it's a fastening, if it's a certain type of zipper, if there's anything that's particular about that product or any detail, that you're really zooming in so that can be seen, as well as calling it out in the copy. So back images, that's something, even if you think, well, there's nothing on the back of the product, well, the customer doesn't know that unless you've shown them. So it's always good to have a front and a back photo. Generally speaking, if you can put videos on there, if you can put images, I think customers as well are getting used to seeing more kind of user-generated type content. So of course it's great if you can afford to go and have this beautiful, immaculate video done in a photography studio that specializes in product images. But if you can't, and the best that you can do is kind of something that might, you know, also be seen on social media as kind of like a candid product view, then I think that a lot of the time the customer will understand that, and they seem less. It's less unusual to see that kind of video. So do what you can, make sure there are enough photos, make sure that your product descriptions are really clear, and make sure that they're accurate, so that if you are searching for something and you just want to make sure that if the customer's searching for, I don't know, a tea towel, and then they click on an item and it's actually a tablecloth or something like that, that's going to really hit your conversion. So make sure that your product descriptions are accurate, they're clear. If the customer's searching for them, really think about how the customer will be searching for them. So if you know, what language will they use? They won't use technical language. So just think about, you know, how somebody who knows nothing about your product will be searching for it. Also, you want to just check your Google Analytics. I know we had a discussion earlier a couple of weeks ago in the Facebook group about how the Shopify analytics aren't great and they don't really tie up with Google Analytics. But if you can, being able to actually watch how people move around your site and identify where they're dropping out is really, really powerful if you can get to it. And that will help you really understand where the friction points are in your website. So in retail in general, a friction point is any time that you're talking about something that's kind of blocking the customer from buying. I mean, I always go back to the ultimate frictionless experience is the one-click purchase in Amazon, because you literally just click on it and it's done. And that alone has created, you know, billions of pounds worth of sales for Amazon. But for your own website, you want to think about the customer journey when they come onto your website. How do they walk through? Is there anything that's going to trip them up? And that's the same really, I suppose, for a physical store. So if we talk about physical stores for a minute, then in order to grow your conversion, what you want to think about is first and foremost the physical layout of the store. Is it enticing enough? Do you have your best sellers at the front? Generally speaking, research has shown that you get 3 seconds of people's attention, and they kind of walk in, scan around, they make a decision about if they want to see any more or not, and then they will leave if they are not convinced. It's that quick. And I suppose we've all done it, haven't we, when we've walked into a shop and you've kind of looked around and gone, yeah, no, yeah, okay, I'm leaving. So what you want to make sure is in that 3 seconds, where is the customer going to look at first? And just putting something enticing there, something that you know that it sells, and then it will draw the customer in and get them to stay for longer. And in a store, of course, the customer service is a huge part of conversion, and I'm sure you're all very well aware of that. Hello, more people joining us. So be aware of your customer service, be aware of how every member of your team interacts with your customers, make sure that you're happy, that your training's up to date, that you've done, you know, you've really thought about it, you've gone through all of your scripts and all of your ways of approaching the customer, and that you are happy that your customer service is as good as it can be. So that's a major, major driver to your conversion rate. And actually also to say, if you've got different people working in your shop, it's also really interesting if you start tracking conversion almost according to who's actually in the store, how many people you've got, who it is, and then you can identify again if there's any major anomalies between, well, if this person is converting at a lot lower rate than somebody else, then that's something for you to think about in terms of your training and ways that you can support them. And then just finally, for both e-commerce and physical stores, it's really, really important to think about the customer journey. We've touched on it a little bit before, but actually I was reading an interesting book written by a woman who worked for McDonald's for a really long time, which is going to sound like a weird example to use when we're talking about all of your beautiful product-based businesses. But, you know, say what you like about McDonald's, they have very strict rules about the customer journey, and the manager of a McDonald's store walks the customer journey once every hour. So it's not just something they check once and then leave it, but once an hour a member of the management team walks from where the customer will be coming into the McDonald's through the store to the counter, checks the loos, everything. So basically what they're looking for is something that's going to trip the customer up. So is it going to be rubbish on the floor that they get picked up? Is it going to be a broken light they get fixed? Is it that the door looks a bit greasy so they get that cleaned? And I just think that's a really good approach when you're talking about conversions. You want to constantly walk, whether that's metaphorically online or physically in a real store, walk the customer journey and look for anything that might create that friction, create a moment where they might hesitate, where they might otherwise have bought, or something that would put them off, or something that doesn't feel like it's aligned with your brand values. So it's a great exercise for you to do, to think about, and to just monitor your conversion rates, because as I said, it's no good going out and driving twice as much traffic to your website if they're still only converting at a really, really low level, whereas you could have worked with the same number of people, saved yourself time and money, but actually done the work to convert it. And of course, any work that you do on conversion is only amplified then when you do drive more traffic to your store or to your website, because what you're doing then is you just know that the whole operation is running more effectively. Okay, so that was my little training for today. And I promised you I was going to talk about the summer challenge, so I'm really excited about this. I spent all last week working on it and getting ready for it, and I think it's going to be a really great one. So I had asked the group a couple of weeks ago if they wanted to do a challenge and what kind of topic might be useful, and the one that came back was about growing your sales during the summer. So that's what I've done. I've designed the whole challenge around the idea of we're going to come up with a promotion that is relevant to your customer, that is well thought through and planned out, that you've got clear targets for your promotion, so you know exactly what you're trying to achieve and you can go back and look at it afterwards. And I've got 5 daily mini videos. It's all very short. I know we're very busy, so it's a quick sort of 5 to 10 minute video every day to talk about the theme, and each day builds on the next, so you're going to get walked through all the steps you need to take. There's going to be a quick sort of checklist worksheet for you to fill out each day, again not going to take you more than 5 minutes, and then of course there's going to be lots of support in the group, and hopefully everyone will get an accountability buddy and can join up and enjoy the challenge. So there's links in the group to sign up. I will also put it in the comments of this video. I hope you join up. Even if you're already on my mailing list, I am only going to be sending all the challenge information to people who sign up, so I don't spam the rest of anybody else who maybe doesn't want to join in the challenge. So do go ahead, put your email in, even if you've already signed up to my mailing list, and I look forward to lots of you joining in. So have a fantastic week, everybody, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.